Alright, listen up class, because today we are talking about one of the most educational games that Rockstar has ever released, Bully. Where the only thing higher than your awkward teenage erection is how much chaos you can cause with a slingshot. We all grew up playing games like GTA Vice City and San Andreas. Hiring hookers and dressing up in a gimp suit was a normal occurrence for us. In 2004, San Andreas was released, and just 2 years later, Rockstar decided that we needed a break from their regular style of game. Instead of stealing vehicles, we would now steal smaller vehicles. And instead of robbing banks or casinos, we would now rob kids of their lunch money. What happens when Rockstar takes their infamous open world chaos and throws it into a high school? The answer: pure comedic gold. Bully, otherwise known as Canis Canem Edit in Europe, was released in 2006, and while I have memories of my older, much cooler brother playing it, I myself never partook. There was something about playing as a teenager in a smaller version of GTA that didn't quite attract me at the time. I always knew that I was a slow child and that ADD was a little bit too deep. But boy, missing out on Bully was a huge mistake, because this game is a masterpiece! Although, in my defense, I was probably still playing Oblivion, which released earlier in that same year. Or maybe I was shredding it up on the newly released Guitar Hero. Reviewers at the time really loved this game. They gave it an average of 87 out of 100 on Metacritic. G4 TV, whoever the hell they are, gave it a perfect 10 out of 10, saying that years from now, Bully will stand up on any best of PlayStation 2 list. Well, I've just played it for the first time here in 2025, so let's see if it can live up to all of that hype. And if we were at school together and I saw you, I would grab you, put you in a headlock, and tell you to subscribe, because I'm close to 3,000 subscribers. Okay, back to the video. In Bully, you play as Jimmy Hopkins, a 15-year-old delinquent that has just been sent to the worst school in existence, Bulworth Academy. And trust me, this place makes Hogwarts look like a meditation retreat. But instead of magic, you get fireworks, spud guns, and stink bombs. And instead of telling Malfoy to eat slugs, you would just walk up to him and punch him right in his face. Jimmy is a very troubled young man. He's been expelled from 7 schools at this stage, and Bulworth Academy is his last chance. Jimmy is honestly a little brat, but his whole backstory and attitude is justified once we learn how awful his mother is. Getting married to some rich old guy and dumping us on the doorstep of this new school all alone for a whole year. And you can't tell me that the character design for Jimmy isn't absolutely perfect. We all grew up with a guy that looked just like this. And guess what? They were all bullies. We instantly learn how awful Bulworth Academy is. And before we even make it to the main building, we already have other students trying to assault us. It feels like the Hunger Games, but with more wedgies. We learn that not only the students are against us, but so are the very teachers that are meant to protect us. The principal already hates Jimmy and tells him to keep his nose clean. But guess what? Jimmy doesn't take all of this just lying down. No, he decides to give this whole high school thing a shot by becoming the worst bully in the history of the world. Destroying the very construct of the hierarchy, and not only bullying the nerds, but the jocks too. In my heart, I know that Jimmy would probably just prefer to be left alone, but this little snake Gary convinces him that they should try to take over the whole school, asserting their dominance over the various cliques the school has: the nerds, the jocks, the preppies, and the greasers. Gary then decides to betray us. Whoa, I didn't see that coming. Gary is like the big smoke of GTA San Andreas, that friend that decides to turn on us for his own self-interests.
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip.
We managed to ruin Gary's plan to essentially have us murdered, and one by one we take over each school clique until we become the most popular kid in school and take Gary down once and for all. Each clique is unique. We start off with the very self-aware preppies.
Are you English? Well, no, I just speak this way because I'm very insecure.
The rich kids that look down upon the rest because of the wealth of their parents. We enter a boxing tournament, and after a difficult fight, we assert our dominance over them and they agree to join our side. We then help the leader of the Greasers by exposing his girlfriend's affairs, and there's many including us. The Greasers are brimming with personality, their oversized leather jackets and their slick back hair. It's very, oh, where's the gabagool? We become the friends of the nerds to get them to help us fight against the jocks. And in the middle of it all, we take on extra side activities like helping the drunk English teacher and making sure he doesn't get fired. Sparing some extra time for some romance, collectibles, and of course the curriculum. We have to attend some of the classes. There is just something about Rockstar games, the way they write, where the story immediately grips me, and Bully is honestly no different. And sure, it's probably one of the most inappropriate stories in any video game ever. No wonder that this game was banned in Brazil until 2016. There is even a mission where the gym teacher tells you to break into the girls' dorm rooms to steal their dirty underwear so that he can wash them. What a creepy old bastard. It doesn't matter though, because we end up getting our revenge on him when we push him off a cliff while he's taking a shit in a porta potty. Saying all this, it does make sense why Rockstar are yet to make a sequel. But Rockstar, if you are listening to this, we really need a Bully too. Imagine Jimmy in college pulling pranks on his professors. Or sneaking into frat parties. The possibilities are endless. The story for me is up there with GTA San Andreas, but mainly because it's far more funny. It's very rare that a game makes me laugh out loud, and Bully did it on more than one occasion. The characters are all amazingly voiced and created, and they all have that iconic Rockstar stink. Larger than life characters that are honestly all awful human beings. Corrupt teachers, violent children, and even arsonists. The hideous lunch lady taking the chemistry teacher out on a date, only to drug him and take him back to her house to make chemistry of her own. Absolutely disgusting behavior, but absolutely hilarious at the same time. I miss games like this that crossed the line, made our mouths open wide in shock and disgust. How did our parents let us play these games when we weren't even 12 yet? What the hell was wrong with them? I honestly have no idea if Rockstar could make something like this today. I guess we will have to wait and see if GTA 6 is willing to keep up with that shock factor of their older games.
Asshole! Damn, what I do now?
And then you have the lively town of Bullworth to explore. It's brimming with life and personality. It's something that modern developers struggle to even recreate to this very day. Games like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, where the map is huge, open wide landscapes, but incredibly empty and boring. Whereas in Bullworth, there's something hidden around every corner. It makes exploring worth it. Each road or alleyway used in some way, whether in a main story or during a side activity, like a bike race or during a part-time job. Little collectibles left in odd places. I made fun of the horseshoes and oysters in my last video, but I honestly love little collectibles like that. They reward you for your exploration. Bully taking inspiration from Majora's Mask of all things, giving you a time limit each day to complete all of your tasks. If you stay out past your curfew, the prefects will hunt you down and slap you in the face, and the police will arrest you. Refuse refuse to sleep and Jimmy will just pass out at 2 AM in the morning. The town is large, but most of the experience will take place on campus. I really enjoyed the fact that the classes are optional and can be skipped altogether. And just like the goody two-shoes that I am, I attended every class that I possibly could. I'm essentially the Hermione Granger of the bully world.
It's Leviosa.
Each class is different and will give you certain bonuses. Completing the English classes will give you the ability to taunt and intimidate other bullies easier. Chemistry class will give you the ability to craft fireworks or stink bombs in your bedroom, and the mechanic shop class lets you add improvements on your bike. There is even a class that helps you sweet talk girls into kissing you. Why didn't they teach that in schools when I was growing up? Something that Rockstar does better than anyone else in the game is their ability to make most missions feel different from one another. I don't know how people really play MMORPGs just doing constant fetch quests over and over. Wouldn't you prefer to throw eggs through a window of some rich kid's house? Or destroy the warehouse of a pedo high school teacher, destroying thousands of dollars of stock? From the very start of the game all the way up until the end of my experience, I even got the Platinum Trophy. I was never once bored, and the gameplay is a large factor in that. If you've played any GTA game before, then the gameplay will feel instantly familiar to you. But this time around, it's less like guns and shooting out a window and more fights like, what's that one game? Sleeping Dogs, for example, or even a little bit like GTA San Andreas when you go to the various gyms and learn all the different fighting styles. There's also a heap of gadgets and little childhood weapons. Itching powder, which I think I used only like 2 times. Marbles that trip enemies. A spud gun that is essentially a shotgun that one-shots most enemies. A trusty slingshot that can be used to snipe enemies from afar. As you progress through gym class and help that random stinky homeless man that lives in the school, you will learn more abilities. And it's pretty vital to learn these new skills because as you progress through the game, you can become quickly overwhelmed with how many enemies can attack you at once. Once again, think Sleeping Dogs, but instead of martial arts, it's a young, horny teenager doing wet willies and swirlies. Now, you can't really give wet willies, but you can do swirlies. And you can give wedgies. There's actually a trophy to give 50 wedgies. I hadn't done one by the time I completed the game, so I ran around for about half an hour giving 50 different kids wedgies. It was pretty fun. Other than that one-shot spud gun shotgun, the best tool in Jimmy's arsenal is fleeing. Run from the police, run from the prefects, run from groups of enemies literally trying to kill you. Even in most boss fights, you can just run away from them until they get tired. It's a little cheap, I'm not gonna lie. It's a very fun gameplay style, and the difficulty is somewhere in the middle. Some missions extremely easy, and then the very next is an intimidating boss fight that you might have to reattempt a few times. The game is from 2006. To put that into perspective, Gears of War 1 came out in the same year. So you do expect a certain amount of cleanliness when it comes to the gameplay. All GTA games, even GTA 5 and probably GTA 6, all have that sort of awkward movement. You know, the turning around's really slow, the climbing's a bit awkward, you sort of try to climb a wall and you end up just jumping into it. It's sort of the same in Bully. We have all been robbed of completing a mission because the gameplay mechanics have let us down, and Bully, while not immune to this problem, suffered from this less often. Now, I played this on the PlayStation 5, actually, I do own the PlayStation 2 copy and can record it, but I wanted to show you guys how good this game really looks on the PlayStation 5 console. It holds up incredibly. It has that cartoony style, but also very realistic looking at the same time. It sort of reminds me of like a Tony Hawk game. Speaking of Tony Hawk, Jimmy is equipped with a skateboard and bike to help transport him around the small town. The bike is obviously a clear winner in terms of speed, although you do unlock a go-kart and a scooter later on in the game. And while the skateboard is fun to use, especially while ollieing upstairs, for example, it feels pretty slow. Sometimes I felt like it was quicker just running. There are hundreds of clothes to buy, bikes to upgrade, and mini games to play. It might be a smaller version of a GTA game, especially with its playtime only being around 25 hours, but the amount of side content remains the same. So I've been doing this style of video where I play older games that I haven't played for about 5 months now, and I've got to say, Bully has been my favourite experience so far. The story is iconic, and all the characters, love them or hate them, are all very likable. Does that make any sense? I don't think so, but I'm keeping it in. Each mission feels very different and keeps the player very entertained. The little town is lively and rich, and every region feels completely different from the last. The gameplay is pretty simple to learn, a little difficult to master. Pretty much every Rockstar game is incredibly highly rated, and I put Bully up there with some of the greats of all time. No, this game is not overrated, and it holds up incredibly well. I really enjoyed this game. I loved this experience, and honestly, I would play it again in years to come. I 100%ed it. I got the Platinum Trophy. But honestly, once the Alzheimer's starts to kick in, I could probably play this game, once a year. Alright, thank you very much for watching this video. I appreciate you if you made it this far. The next video I'm actually playing is Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone on the PlayStation 2. This game was $90 Australian, so it was pretty pricey. So it has to be good, right? If it's expensive, it means it's good. Alright, that'll be out in around 2 weeks. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, see ya.